Welcome back, everyone. I'm Scott from HZadeducation, PTE Academic Writing. Let's get started here. Thousands of test takers around the world are still stuck at getting that 50 or 60 score, and we have a desired score of 90. We want the best. If you feel like you are stuck in your writing section, you're not alone, and it's probably not because of your English level. The reason that we are stuck here is because a lot of people write more, but they don't write with strategy. So stay tuned to the end of the video where I will give you my best tip that will completely change how you approach the writing section. Now, the writing section consists of two parts, two primary parts: summarize a written text and write an essay. And you can see that they are both very heavy in terms of score and weight. And summarize a written text, you also get scores for listening, but today we are going to focus on write an essay because that is the heavy hitter. It takes up the most amount of time, and it also requires the most amount of structure, organization, and clarity. So let's get into it. Now, the biggest things that the PTE Academic exam is looking for is that you have good content, you have structure, coherence, grammar, vocabulary, and the silent killer is spelling. If you misspell a word, you do get 1 minus mark. So we don't want to have any spelling mistakes. Quick tip, if you don't know how to spell the word, if you're unsure, is it E before I before E, just don't use the word swap for something different. Now, the biggest problem, number one, I want to share with you is understanding the question type. Now, this is really important. Simply, we need to identify what is the question asking us. If we fail to summarize, or if we fail to look at the advantages and the disadvantages, or the advantages or the disadvantages, then we won't get complete score, especially for content and flow and organization. So let's take a look at some examples. Now, the clock is ticking, so you have to read the question quickly, brainstorm quickly, and plan your thesis. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if the test says something like, animals shouldn't be used for medical research, to what extent do you agree? Provide some examples. This is an agree and disagree type of essay, but it asks you to what extent. So we need to address that in the essay, and that will come in a little bit in the introduction paragraph and in the body paragraph number 1. Stay tuned to the end or the middle of the video because I'll talk more about this counter argument and what it is. So understanding to what extent. Traffic congestion is a growing problem in major cities. What are the causes and what can be done to solve it? What type of essay do you think this would be? This should be a problem solution essay. So we first talk about the causes, the cause of the problem, and then we should address the solutions. Very simply, that'll be problem, body paragraph 1. Solution, body paragraph 2. And the intro and the conclusion will get added with some additional information, which I'll talk about in a moment. Number 3 sounds like small local shops have been closed due to large shopping malls. Is this a positive or a negative solution? Anyway, so what we must do here is choose one side. That key word is or. Is this a positive or a negative? This will be a persuasive essay, which means you need to use strong vocabulary to choose one side and only argue for that side. So you might say it's a positive change, and then you're going to provide plenty of examples, at least 2 examples, in order to show that the examiner believes you. Now, having strong structure here is important, but what about this counter argument? Let's go problem number 2, having some type of counter argument or rebuttal. What does this mean? So a lot of these essay types are going to ask you to address a problem or talk about the pros or the cons. Is this a positive or a negative aspect? What can be done about this? Whenever we choose one side to an argument in body paragraph 1, we want to address the counter argument. Now, this is except for maybe the problem solution where we'll do one problem, one solution. But for other essay types, we really need to have a clean organizational structure. Think about, for example, a compare and contrast essay. Likely, it'll ask you to do both. It might say, some believe young people should attend university, others think they should learn practical skills. And then it will ask you to compare and contrast. So it's your job to organize your paragraph perfectly so that you do address the opposite side. Advantages or disadvantages, same thing. What are the advantages or disadvantages in the area? Now, in order to address the counter argument, your sentence will sound like, although some people might think that, blah, 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 blah. This is not accurate because. Or you might say, while it may be a good idea to develop large projects in urban areas, this does not benefit the larger community, or this does not benefit all people. So you're going to use transitional words here like while, however, although, or in contrast. These will tell the examiner and actually the AI algorithm that you are comparing both sides of the argument. It shows that you can think logically and holistically about these types of essay questions, and at the end of the day, it's just about organization. So let's move on to problem number 4. Problem number 4 is about having proper coherence and flow and having that ideal structure for an essay. I love essays because they're like math. If you do the formula properly, then you will get your desired scores. Now, we've put out videos on just the organization of an essay, so do go ahead, check those out down below. You'll find lots more. We go in depth on the masterclass of how to write an essay. But in general, I need you to know that we should have 4 paragraphs. Introduction paragraph, body paragraph 1, 2, and a short conclusion. In very rare cases, you can have 1 body paragraph. But remember, we are only going to be writing for about 200 to 300 words. So these paragraphs, yes, they are short. They will be less than 100 words, about 70 words, maybe 50 words per paragraph. Quite short. Now on the screen, you'll see some good organizational structures. We are trying to move away from templates because in 2026, templates are not working. And in fact, the algorithms can catch that you're using a generic template and it will give you a low score. This is why a lot of people are stuck with that 50 or 60 on the writing section. So move away from templates and start using some type of framework. A framework is designed to give you an organizational framework that helps you to write fast. We don't need to waste time, and we shouldn't waste time on brainstorming or thinking about what to do first, second, or third. So your introduction paragraph must state your opinion or your stance. Remember that. Choose a contrast or compare, or choose a positive or con. You need to state this in the first introduction paragraph. Now, your final sentence of the intro will be like a thesis. Then your body paragraphs will follow that very nicely. So in the body paragraph number 1, talk about the problem. Body paragraph number 2, talk about the solution. Something similar to this. Even for the body paragraphs, we need to have some type of structure. Most importantly, you should be using a format like CER. This is claim, evidence, reasoning. So you start your paragraph off with a topic sentence. This should address the main purpose of this paragraph. For example, if you are talking about the advantages of something, your main sentence will say, one of the advantages of urban infrastructure is blah, 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 blah. Then you go into your strong claim. This should have bold, persuasive language. You want to use words that are very certain. Avoid words like possibly, perhaps, it might, it may. These are very weak used words. So we want to find strong vocabulary. It is necessary. We ought to. Or it is imperative that. It is crucial to. These types of words give you higher marks, 1, because they're good vocabulary, and 2, because you are being persuasive. Then we go into using some type of example. You won't have time or ability to research during this exam, but what you can do is use global information, worldwide information that everyone will understand. If you're thinking of infrastructure in a major city, you could talk about Singapore, Dubai, New York, London. All of these cities have a lot of well-developed infrastructure. So don't use evidence, just use examples from your own brain. The next sentence will go into reasoning. Reasoning is where you provide some explanation of why this part matters. So why do we think the overall digital technology is positive? Now, you would have to explain more in-depthly. All body paragraphs will follow this type of structure, and if you complete this structure, you will get a high mark because the algorithm can identify that you have coherence and logic in your writing part. This is how we're getting a 90 in 2026, so please do take a screenshot of the organization. Now, this would be a faulty video if I didn't mention problem number 4, and that is your spelling, your tone, and your grammar. Spelling, like I mentioned, gives you -1 mark for every spelling mistake. Simply put, do not make spelling mistakes. I am a victim of this because my spelling is not very good. But if you don't know the word, if you're not confident, simply find a synonym that you are confident about. PTE Academic doesn't simply reward very high advanced vocabulary. They award giving a good structure, having complete ideas, and having relevancy to the question. That is why templates are not being used in 2026. Now, if these organizational structures do help you, go ahead and please like and subscribe to the video. Our main goal is that we help you get a desired score so that you can emigrate to a new country, start that new job, or attend university. These are big deals. So we help you. Go ahead, like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Now, the final thing I want to share with you, and the biggest tip that will change the way that you write and take this exam, is that we are writing to convince and persuade them of the correct answer. We are not writing to impress them with our lexical resources and our strong, complex sentences. However, complex sentences are important. Do use them. But the main thing is that you're addressing the question prompt, you're using relevant, logical ideas, taking a stance on your opinion, and using vocabulary and examples to convince the robot, the algorithm, that your answer is correct. This is a strong academic essay, and it's what we are aiming for. So that's the biggest difference between getting a 50 or a 60 and getting a 90. Students that follow our system and take our program, they are reaching 90 on the writing section as well as other sections. So if you want to get a high score and you're taking the exam soon, do comment down below if this video helped you. Go ahead and like and subscribe so that I can see you in the next video. I'm Scott from HZad Education. Bye for now.